Welcome, my name is Janet. I'm working through the King James's Bible. Today I'm in the book of Numbers, working through chapters 22 and 23. Now, if you watched my video yesterday, you will know that the Israelites have started to conquer a lot more of the land in which they're moving towards, because they're going towards the promised land, remember? They're going to live in Canaan, that's what God has promised, and so they are moving through certain areas and dominating. So they've taken over the Amorites and they're now moving around in different ways towards the promised land. And we begin this chapter with the Israelites continuing their journey, and they have camped up now in Moab. And this is on the Jordan side across from Jericho. Now Balak, the king of Moab, saw how the Israelites had overtaken the Amorites, and they are now very close to him. So he is becoming very concerned that they are going to now try and take over his land and his people. But God doesn't want the Israelites to take over Moab. That's not in his plan. This is just an inner fear of Balak. He doesn't know. He's just seen what's happened to previous camps, and he thinks the same demise is going to become of him. So Balak devises a plan. And his plan is to send some messages to a guy named Balaam, who is a famous prophet that he knows of. And his message to this prophet is to tell him that the Israelites are growing in numbers and that he wants him to place a curse upon them so that this will weaken the Israelites, and this will allow him then to defend his territory and overthrow the Israelites. So Balak gets together some of the elders from Moab and also some of the elders from Midian, and they are to meet with Balaam, taking some money with them, and to bring him back to Moab so that they could carry out this curse. When the elders arrive, they tell Balaam of the king's concerns about what the Israelites are going to do. And Balaam says to them, okay, just stay one night and I'm going to speak to the Lord and he'll tell me what to do. So the elders stay that night, and God comes to Balaam and he says, who are these men? And Balaam explains to God why they're here and what the king's fears is, and that he wants him to go with them and curse the Israelites. And God immediately tells Balaam, you should not go with them because the Israelites are blessed. So the next morning Balaam gets up, he goes to the elders and he tells them what God has said, that he has refused him to go with them. He's not allowed to go. So it's almost like he wanted to go because he's seen all this money, but he's saying, look, the Lord's saying I can't go, so unfortunately, I can't go beyond what God has told me. So the princes up their ante and they start offering him more, like, well, come with us, we'll offer you a lot more of this wealth and goodness. So Balaam, obviously being tempted by this, asks the elders to stay another night so he can speak to God to see what he's going to say now that they've given this offer. So he goes back, speaks to God that night, and God comes back saying, okay, you can go, but you must honor my word when you're there. So that is his order. So Balaam, obviously thrilled with this outcome, gets up with his two servants and his donkey, saddles up his donkey and heads for King Balak with the elders. And on seeing this action, God gets angry now. We see God getting very angry that he's chosen to go with them. It's almost like, to me, that he's given Balaam a test. It's like he didn't listen to his first order, which was not to go. And he said, okay, you can go, but you've got to keep my word. Possibly hoping that he wouldn't go and just staying where he was. But no, he's been given that little window of an opportunity and he's jumped at it. Because the allure of wealth is dangling a carrot at him and he's following along. So with God's anger at this action that Balaam has taken, he sends an angel down. And while the donkey is on this journey with Balaam on his back, he sees God's angel, which comes down with a sword and blocks their track. So the donkey then swerves off into a field. And obviously this, Balaam is thinking, what's going on? So he strikes the donkey with his stick to get him back on the track. And then the angel appears again in the vineyard where there's two walls kind of blocking him. And again, the donkey sees the angel and he backs up into a wall, knocking Balaam on his back and hitting his foot against the wall. And Balaam hits his donkey a second time, trying to get him back on track. And now the donkey comes to a place where there's nowhere to move. It's kind of like there's nowhere. It's blocked on all ways, and the angel is there. And so the donkey just lies down with Balaam on his back. And then Balaam gets so angry, he hits the donkey a third time. And at this point, the Lord opens the donkey's mouth. So the donkey is now able to speak. And what he says to Balaam is, "What have I done to you that you strike me 3 times?" And Balaam says, "For you have abused me, and if I had a sword right now, I would kill you." He's so angry because he can't get moving on this journey. And the donkey responds, "Am I not your donkey on which you've ridden ever since I became yours? Was I ever disposed to do this to you?" So the donkey is saying that it had never gone this way before, and so this was the reason for his actions. Now the Lord opens Balaam's eyes to see the angel in front of him, and he bows his head and he falls to his face. And the angel says, "Why did you strike your donkey? I've come to stand against you, as your way is perverse before me. Your donkey saw me and turned aside 3 times. Now if the donkey had not turned away, you would have been killed and he would have survived." And now Balaam is humbling himself, and he said, "I have sinned, I did not know, I will go back." But the angel says, "Just go, but make sure you say and do as the Lord tells you." So Balaam carries on his journey with the elders towards King Balak. And when Balak hears that he's coming, Balaam, he goes out to meet him. And this is where Balaam tells him, "Look, I'm here, but I can only do what the Lord tells me. That's my command. That's what I've been given." And on hearing this, King Balak says to him, "Look, I'll offer you more animals and different things like this, more promises basically of more riches for Balaam." And then he goes and he shows him, he takes him to a spot to show him the Israelites and where they are. And this closes chapter 22. So chapter 23, we begin with Balaam telling Balak, you need to build 7 altars and we need to sacrifice 7 bulls and 7 rams for the Lord. So these are the offerings to give to the Lord. And they're in a place where they're looking over the Israelites. So Balak does as Balaam says, and then Balaam says, "Right, you stay with the offerings, I'm going to now go and speak with the Lord." So he connects with the Lord, and the Lord tells him to go back towards Balak and then to read out this prophecy through him. And the Lord speaks through Balaam, saying that the Israelites are not to be cursed, but instead to be blessed. So this is what is prophesied and given on this location with all of these offerings. And obviously at this stage, Balak is thinking, what on earth have you just done? You've just blessed them. I asked you to curse them. And Balaam says to him, "Look, I'm the messenger. I'm just saying what God told me to say." So Balak then takes Balaam to another location where they can see the Israelites more, and he's thinking this is probably a better place where the Lord is then going to see this sight and then change his mind. So again, Balaam carries out the same ritual, get 7 altars, sacrifice 7 bulls and 7 rams, then stand by the offering, and I'm going to go and speak to God. So he does that, comes back with what God says, and this is what God says. He always keeps his promises, and Israel, the Israelites, are holy, and that he is strong as an ox. So at this point, Balak is not happy. He's not a happy king because he's not getting what he wants. He wanted them cursed, and instead they've been blessed. So Balak comes back with, look, neither curse them nor bless them. He doesn't want them to do anything. He just wants to neutralize the situation. And he must have been quite angry at this point. So Balaam then says to him, look, I am doing what God told me to do. So there we have it. 2 chapters really showing us about how fear in somebody can really create a lot of problems, and trying to control something. All of this effort that King Balak has brought, bringing a prophet to the land, using money as a way to persuade him to do what he wanted, to curse, and then the persuasion of this money gets Balaam himself to go against the godly way that he could live his life because he has that connection, but he is allured by the money. So we see this journey play out, and then we see the donkey, who has obviously got a much stronger connection to God, and he stops, pulls back, And for that, that saved Balaam's life. He could have been killed, like the angel said to him. The Lord of the angels said he would have killed him had it not been for his donkey. And then we get to this place where then King Balak thinks he's going to get this curse taken place, and it doesn't. They end up being blessed, the Israelites. And King Balak is now frustrated, and he will just have to see what is to become, because the curse did not take place. Okay, that covers our 2 chapters today. I'll be back again tomorrow for more within the book of Numbers. Thanks for being here. See you again soon. Bye.